All right, one rental at a time community. We've got a special treat today. Matt Gouget, Matt the Mortgage Guy here. And as you probably would notice, not Michael Zuber. We've got Grant, a 16-year-old who I love the fact that you're having these conversations, Grant, because if somebody lined something like this up for me at 16 years old, I would have been excited to be in your shoes, learning a bunch of stuff that, quite honestly, clients I have in their 20s, 30s, and 40s aren't having these conversations. So thanks for being brave enough to do it, Grant. And we'll start with whatever questions you got, man. I'm happy to answer them.
Of course, thank you for taking the time. So, my first question is about your background and kind of what experience you have with investing and real estate investing specifically.
Sure. Yeah, we could talk about my background. I think it is worth mentioning. Like, I've always been a numbers guy. I've always loved numbers since I was a kid, and I still remember being student of the week for math. Um, I tied with my buddy a bunch of times, so she'd make us draw a number from 1 to 10, and I always picked 4. If she couldn't decide between me and my buddy Joel and who would get math lead of the week or whatever the heck it was called. But my start in real estate, interestingly enough, my personal real estate investing journey came after I got involved in the mortgage industry. I graduated from Sac State here in Sacramento, California, a degree in finance, international business, and Spanish. But I wasn't actively investing in real estate. I owned my primary residence. My start in real estate, as far as education and learning, kind of started around the same time my mortgage career did in 2014. And then after 3 years of listening to podcasts and going to real estate meetups and talking to friends, finally made the first investment purchase around 2017. And between 2017 to today, I've bought 4 single family and 2 fourplexes. While I get to, in my day job, live vicariously through clients, and I've helped my mortgage clients buy hundreds, if not thousands, of investment property units.
Great. So, my next question is kind of related to that. So, for the younger generation specifically, how early would you think to start prioritizing real estate investing versus maybe more traditional options?
The thing I love about real estate investing, a thing that's really cool for somebody like you, Grant, is the earlier you do it, the better. Because quite honestly, like most all investments, the longer you hold on to them, the better they can do. Like um, people listening probably have seen some of the stuff where if you invested $50 a month from age 16 to 65, you'd have $1.9 million, whatever those numbers are, right? But as somebody who's, young and starting out, I think that the entry point to real estate, especially if you do it strategically, it's not a humongous bar. You educate yourself on real estate, you put together a little down payment, and then if you're living in a market where there's 2 units, 3 units, and 4 units, and there's rental demand, which there's quite honestly rental demand across the country, you buy that property, whether it's at age 19 or 21 or 25, and you're living in one, you're renting out the others. You have to have a place to live. You got to have a roof over your head. In this real estate investing scenario, you're subsidizing your cost to live, and then 30 years later, at age 50, you've got a paid off asset. If you borrowed it on a 30-year fixed rate loan, you've probably lived in there part of the time for free, or at least subsidized and discounted. And then the tenants have been paying the mortgage, the property taxes, the homeowners insurance. They're covering that bill. So you just wake up 30 years later with a paid off asset that's worth $1 million. It's served as a place for you to live at one time. It's probably generated some cash flow. I know Mike's talked about it too, that 5 or 10 years later is when more of the magic happens. You might move in and your total payment is $4,500 and you pay $700 of that because you're collecting $3,800 in rent. That's not super exciting. But 10 years later, when you're moved out and it's generating $7,500 in rents and the mortgage is is 4,500, and now you're putting $3,000 a month in your pocket while you're working a day job, while you've got other investments. That's the cool compounding effect and the magic real estate really has when you hold it long term. So long-winded, I'm sorry, brother, but buy real estate early and hold on to it for a long time. Like, there's never been a 30-year period in history where someone's bought a piece of real estate and it's worth less 30 years later, ever.
Great, thank you. So from my discussions in the past, with other people, they've described that like process of living in a property while also having tenants in the same property as house hacking. So really quickly, could you just kind of summarize the process and maybe some of the benefits of house hacking?
Yeah, and house hacking has, I think, gained a lot of popularity because housing's expensive. If you decided to go study somewhere at a university and, it's in one of these markets where renting a bedroom costs $2,500, like that's expensive. And if you're the property owner, it's great for you because house hacking is essentially having other people live in a unit that's connected, or if you have a single family residence, you might buy a 4-bedroom and have 3 college friends each paying $1,500 for a room. And so you're collecting the 4,500, you're applying that to your mortgage. Your mortgage is being paid down, your property is appreciating, and if your total mortgage is, call it 4,800, you're paying 3 of it. The other 3 roommates are paying 1,500 a piece. Like, that's really, like, simple version of house hack. The funny part is, in 2006, I was 26 and I bought a single family house. The mortgage payment was $2,800 a month. And for me in Sacramento, with, the income that I had at the time, $2,800 felt like a huge lift. It was going to be a struggle for me and, my then girlfriend, now wife. We rented one room to a buddy of mine who I met studying in Mexico, and he rented one room. And then my wife had a friend who she worked with who she rented a room to. So we house hacked before we even knew that was a thing. Just knowing that if we charge them $500 a piece, our portion of that payment's only $1,800. And now, gosh, time flies. 18 years later, we've long since moved out of that house, turned it into a rental property, and the thing's generating cash flow on a monthly basis now.
Great, thank you. So my next question is about kind of the process of buying and selling. So obviously you do a lot of that, not just for yourself, but for clients as well. But I was wondering what the steps that you take for actually purchasing a property, looking into it, what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, I'm a numbers guy, so I'm looking at the numbers, but I think this goes for everybody. Um, for whatever reason, it's just become something where the masses and general public, they start their home search with a real estate agent, which it can work because real estate agents generally have contacts and, oh, let me connect you with my lender. But really, your home search should start with a lender, because if you can't qualify for a loan, you don't know how you're going to put together the financing to buy it. Looking at all the homes is a waste of everyone's time, to be honest. And so the process, Grant, for me and for anybody else, for you, is talk to a lender. Most lenders have pretty streamlined processes where you fill out an online application, you upload your supporting docs, which is pay stubs and W-2s and bank statements. That lender analyzes it and says, hey, Grant, for your income right now and the amount you have in the bank, here's what you'd be able to buy. Here's what that might look like if you bought something for $275,000 and put 5% down. You said you might be able to get a gift. So if you get that $30,000 in gift funds, you put 10% down on that property. Here's what that would look like. And in my opinion, that's where it starts. And the better you understand that, the better prepared you are to actually go out and look at properties, because then you connect with a real estate agent who knows the area you're looking in. You like and you trust them, so you're going to take their advice. And then you get out there and you say, here's my budget. I've talked to my lender. I know what I can not only qualify for, but what I can afford. And so try to find me a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in this neighborhood for less than $350,000 or whatever those numbers are. But that's how most people should be approaching it. And I'm just the same, right? Before I go out and buy an investment property or buy a new primary, I'm going to run numbers. I'm going to make sure I qualify and do the mortgage side of it first, and then get out there and start looking at homes.
Yeah. So when you're in the process of uh, searching and doing that research, what are the sites or the resources that you're using to find either the lenders or maybe just more info about the property itself? Could you just maybe give a few?
Yeah, there's so many resources online now that it's hard because you might be overwhelmed where, Sacramento real estate agent, Sacramento mortgage broker, you type it in, but some of the same things that go into you finding a great restaurant are you finding a mortgage lender. You talk to your friends and family, you look on Google, you're like, oh, this guy Matt, the mortgage guy, has 105 5-star reviews on Google. See what people are saying. You might talk to your lender. In this case, someone comes to me, they get pre-approved. I'm looking in the Land Park area of Sacramento. Who's a great real estate agent in that neighborhood? And as a lender who's done 1,000+ deals in the last 10 years, I can say, you know what? I know a bunch of great realtors. This one specific, born and raised in Land Park, knows every street, can help you out, loves walking first-time home buyers through that process. And so I think it's a combination. I think it's online research, family and friends, and referrals. And so, you could look at Google My Business for somebody's business reviews. You can look at their reviews on Yelp or Zillow or the other places. And then for property stuff, that's the other part that's changed dramatically in the real estate world. Like, you don't have to have a real estate agent give you access to here's what's on the MLS. I personally like Redfin because I think their site is just easy to navigate. And it'll show you all the homes that are available and listed. It'll show you what's open this weekend if you want to pop through it on your own. But I think I want to stress to you and anybody else, get the numbers part done first. Get the pre-approval and have that dialed in, because once you start looking at homes, it's easy to get emotional about your decision. Oh, this place is great. I love it. I'm going to make it work.
Great. So my next question is about if you could go back and restart your career, maybe from, let's say, 20, what would you do differently, if anything?
If I were to start over, I started in mortgage at 34. I would have gone straight to mortgage after college because I really enjoy it. I think that it's a natural fit for somebody who likes people, likes numbers, enjoys real estate investing. And so my only regret or change that I would make is I would start sooner. I did have a lot of fun. I managed a poker room and that was fun. But if I would have started my mortgage career a decade earlier, I'd be 2 decades in now. And, the book of business would be bigger, my knowledge would be more, and I'd be farther along. So yeah, I would have gone straight to mortgage had I known what I know now.
Cool. So my last question for you is, um, what is one mistake that you think young investors should avoid?
This is a good one. And hopefully this helps you. Hopefully this helps anybody listening. New investors are prone to go to different real estate meetups or start getting information, and they have this big crazy dream, and they're thinking about 280 unit apartment complex syndications. I've spoke at real estate meetups and I've seen the same people that own zero real estate year after year after year after year after year. And so my advice to young people is start small and start simple. And after you hit that single, or after you buy that single family residence or duplex, that's, one thing to look back on and gain experience from, and then you take it from there. Mike Zuber bought a single family, was his first real estate investment. Matt Gouget, first real estate investment, single family home. And so, I really think it's cool when you can buy a 2 to 4 unit as your first property. So I'd recommend that, but don't get in this cycle of dreaming so big that you never take action. You never buy the first property. Because I've seen it, Grant. I've seen people that were at the same meetups that I presented at in 2016. They're still there today, and they're talking about some big crazy pipe dream, where if they would have bought a fourplex in 2016 and then another property in 2019 and another one in 2023, they'd be much better off than this dream that never comes to fruition.
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer my questions. I'm gonna
Yeah.
give it back to Mr. Zuber now.